Amy, what is our fourth main topic today?
This email comes to us from The Watcher. So thanks for that. Hey guys, so I've been seeing a couple of websites in my regular news feed posting lately about their most anticipated upcoming Marvel projects. So I was thinking, now that Thor: Love and Thunder is out this weekend, maybe you could give us your top 10 most anticipated MCU movies and shows still coming out, not including Thor, because you've seen that already. So what do you think we should be looking forward to? Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in. And it was funny because we were talking about the X-Men the other day, with the comments coming from the Russo brothers and all that kind of stuff. And we realized just how many projects we have coming, because X-Men is not one of them. Like X-Men has not been an announced project or anything like that. But you realize there's still so many projects still to come. Now, I do not like taking questions about top 10s or top 5s, but we can do some of them when we have time to prep for it, right? So when somebody writes in the super chat, say, hey, John, who are your top 5 this? I'm like, I don't do top 5s when I have to answer it off the top of my head. But for this, I think this is interesting, especially coming off a discussion about the Russo brothers the other day, to actually take a look at the at the landscape of just how much MCU stuff we have coming and what we have coming in those things. So we're going to take a second and jump over into the Campea classroom for just a moment here. And we're gonna talk about this. Now, before we get into what I would consider to be the top 10 things we should be most anticipating, and then of course we're gonna go over to Rob and Amy and get theirs as well. Couple of projects that did not make my list. Now remember, these are all projects that have been officially announced. Not rumored, not speculated, not that we know are eventually gonna be coming, but have been officially announced, okay? So here are 4 that did not make my top 10 list. One of them is Ironheart. Was that 2 words or 1 word? I think it's 1 word.
Like one word.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ironheart. All right. And I spelt that wrong too. Anyway, Ironheart.
That's how unexcited you are.
that's how excited I
I
am
couldn't
about
even be
it.
bothered to learn it.
That is not a knock on anything. It is that me leaving that off the top 10 list is simply a reflection of the fact that I know almost, other than the fact that the character's Riri and all that kind of stuff, I don't really know anything about it. I never read Ironheart, so I don't really have a basis to be excited about. So it could end up being the best MCU project they've ever done. I'm just saying, because it's such an outlier for me right now, it doesn't crack my top 10. So that's one. Next, and some of you are going to gasp, but here's one that did not make my top 10. Secret Invasion did not make my top 10. And you might be saying, how the hell does that not make your top 10? Well, it's simple. It's going to Disney Plus. But John, you're going to have some things on Disney Plus in your top 10. Yes. I don't know how you do Secret Invasion on Disney Plus.
It's easy. You do it in 6 episodes.
32-minute episodes.
Hustle.
And that, Jonathan, is exactly why I don't have it on my most anticipated. So for now, I'm going to leave that there. Another one is Armor Wars. Now, I am intrigued by Armor Wars. I am. I think the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier sets up Armor Wars. I think that was the setup for Armor Wars. I think it's intriguing. So while it may not have made my top 10, it is one that I'm going to keep my eyes on. Another one, you guys know this, Echo. Echo does not make my top 10. They did a very bad job setting up this character in Hawkeye. That not only failed to elicit my interest, actually did the opposite and made me have negative gains on my interest in the character. So again, hoping the show will be awesome, but for now it does not make my top 10. So those are 4 things that are coming that don't make my top 10. Okay, so here is my top 10. Black Panther 2 comes in at number 10. Some people may be saying, John, Black Panther 1 nominated for Best Picture. You love Black Panther. Why is it only number 10? I'll tell you why it's number 10. Not only does it not have the star of Black Panther, it doesn't have the main character of Black Panther. Now, again, I'm not saying that means the movie's going to be not great. It's still in my top 10. But if I'm going to talk about my anticipation, the 2 best things about Black Panther, the character T'Challa and the dude who played him. And one half of that is nobody's fault that they're not there. Chadwick Boseman obviously not there. And the other half is from a brain dead dopey decision to not to get rid of the T'Challa character. So you don't have the main character. You don't have the main guy playing it. So it's going to hurt my anticipation a little bit. So it's still in my top 10, and it may be awesome, but it comes in at number 10 for me. All right. At number 9, Loki season 2. Again, I'm not in love with the first season of Loki, despite the fact that we have Miss Minutes up on the wall here in our office. I did not love the first season of Loki, but I'm hoping they're going to build on their strengths from the first one, correct the mistakes they made, give us more Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson together, because when those two guys are on screen at the same time, the show sang. So I'm going to go with number 9, Loki. All right. And number 8, Agatha and the House of Harkness. I love this character. And I think you have an opportunity here to do a really kind of off the wall thing, but there's also the opportunity to go kind of dark if you want to with Agatha. So it all depends on what they're going to do. And of course, I love her. So for me, number 8 is Agatha. Number 7, The Marvels. Partially because I love Kamala Khan.
Yep.
I really liked, what's her name in WandaVision? Is it Photon? What do they call the character again? Yeah, Photon. Anyway, I really liked her in that show.
Yeah.
The character, but I can't remember what her call sign is. But so there, and while I don't think Captain Marvel is a top 5 MCU character, I did really like Captain Marvel, the movie. And so put those 3 together, The Marvels is my 7 most anticipated. All right. At number 6, Ant-Man 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I am a sucker for the Ant-Man films. I didn't think the second one was as good as the first one, but I still was incredibly charmed by it. The only reason I don't actually have Ant-Man 3 higher on the list is because I don't think Michael Pena's in it. And to me, that's a big strike.
Yeah.
That is a big strike, but still, Paul Rudd, look, and then you're going to have Kang the Conqueror in this as well. I think this is going to be a very pivotal movie for the MCU. So for me at number 6 is Ant-Man. All right. Going into number 5, Blade.
That's it.
You got, right? You when you announce, number 1, that you have Blade coming into the MCU, but then you don't have 1 time, but 2 time.
2 times.
Academy Award winner Mahershala Ali is playing the dude. How do you not have that on your list? So number 5 for me is Blade.
What? Number 5? That's it. Just end the list. That should be it.
I'm
That should
with
be the
you.
last thing you say.
Blade is higher on my list.
Well, we'll get to your list in a second. At number 4, and I'm going to have this one higher than most people, but I think it looks awesome, and that's She-Hulk. I don't care what anybody says. You can go and cry all you want. I think the premise of this is awesome. I thought the trailer for it was incredibly charming. I loved what we were getting. Like the one line she says, what is this? It's fear and anger. She's like, you just basically described the base emotions of every woman, right? Like just that whole thing of the dating stuff, whatever. The fact that I am generally legitimately afraid for this man's health who's about to go and have sex with her. Like that was just, I think it looks great. I always said I wanted a She-Hulk to be Ally McBeal in the MCU, and that trailer delivered it for me. So for me, I've got it higher. Again, I'm acknowledging it's probably higher on the list than most people's, but I think it looks great. So for me, it's at number 4. At number 3, Fantastic Four. Look, there's a reason Fantastic Four comics got canceled. They aren't nearly as popular, but Fantastic Four as an IP has been dealt a dirty hand for a long time, with various iterations coming to the big screen that have really not done justice to the property. You got a lot of excitement going for it now. Unfortunately, John Watts isn't directing it now, so we'll see who ends up directing it. But I don't know how you can't be excited about Fantastic Four. So Fantastic Four for me is at number 3. At number 2, Guardians 3. What James Gunn has done with Guardians of the Galaxy, like the first Guardians of the Galaxy is probably the movie that let the world know Marvel is going to own everything. Like, yeah, Iron Man can succeed. Yes, Avengers is going to work. But when they said they were doing Guardians of the Galaxy and the whole world went, who? And they made this totally different, off-the-wall, outer space thing, and it crushed with fans, with critics, with the box office. Number 2 was also a big success. Kind of like Ant-Man, I didn't like number 2 as much as I liked number 1, but still incredibly successful, all that kind of stuff. And now James Gunn, with all the drama that went on between him and Disney, he's back in the director's chair again. I cannot help but have Guardians 3 as my number 2 most anticipated. This isn't going to surprise many people, But my number one is Deadpool 3. And they probably won't call it Deadpool 3. They'll probably call it something like Deadpool something or other. But the Deadpool movies are life and air and water and breath. It's just, they're everything. Deadpool 1, Deadpool 2, Ryan Reynolds was born to play this role. I love these films. And so to see what they will do within the MCU, if, as the writers are saying, they're truly letting them take the gloves off, you do whatever you want to do. The writers of this movie have said they've given us no notes. They've told us, do whatever you want. You know how hard they're going to skewer stuff in the MCU in this movie?
Oh.
I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. So, once again, for me, my top 10, for those of you listening in the podcast form, is number 10, Black Panther 2, number 9, Loki 2, number 8, Agatha, The House of Harkness, number 7, The Marvels, number 6, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, number 5, Blade, number 4, She-Hulk, number 3, Fantastic Four, number 2, Guardians 3, and my number 1 most anticipated MCU project is Deadpool. So, that's my list on there. We want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of today's video, Storyblocks. Guys, I have been an enthusiastic fan and user of Storyblocks for years. I go to them whenever I'm in need of content creation assets like royalty-free music, video clips, or templates for my creative projects, ranging anywhere from little editorial videos to my very own full-feature documentary. Storyblocks helps you bring your stories, videos, and projects to life without sacrifices due to time, budget, or access to resources. They have over 1 million different story assets ranging from stock videos, audio and music, an in-browser video editor, and they feature pre-designed templates, animations, and outros. Storyblocks uses an affordable subscription model, and their unlimited access plans offers, well, unlimited video and audio downloads rather than a costly pay-per-clip model. With Storyblocks, you'll be able to create more content and, more importantly, better content, all while using a subscription plan that fits your budget, utilizing unlimited downloads of demand-driven and diverse content. So if you're interested in upping your content creation game, head over to www.storyblocks.com/Campea and get started today. That's www.storyblocks.com/Campea. Rob, let's go over to you now. What would you say, how would you rank your top 10 of the upcoming announced MCU?
My list is similar to yours, but I mean, I have to go backwards. Now, Armor Wars and Ironheart, I mean, I don't know how I'd rank them. They're on my top 10, and I'll tell you why. Because I see them as together. You know, I see that you can't have Ironheart without Armor Wars. I think they're going to play into one another.
I remember Ironheart's going to be introduced in Black Panther, so we're going to see her soon.
Absolutely. But I think Ironheart, and I would put those probably at 9 and 10. 10 and 9. You know, I don't know what how I would put those. Then I would put Marvels at my number 8. And then after Marvels, I would probably put Quantumania. I love those movies. And then that's Quantumania is number 7. Number 6, I'm going to go with Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. I was going to put that higher, but I think that Wakanda 2 is going to be pivotal as far as the MCU is concerned. I think it's going to go places that we don't know. Now, here's Agatha is not on my top 10 list, even though it should be, because when I get to my number 1, you're going to be like, wait, what? Why isn't Agatha there? So for my number 6, I'm going to go with Fantastic Four, only because.
Really? Yeah. I would have expected that you would have had it higher than me.
The only reason is, here's what
we don't even know who's in it yet.
That's my problem.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, I love the Fantastic Four. I think Fantastic Four, we've watched 3 not good Fantastic Four movies. Now, I want to know, are you going to lean into Jonathan Hickman's run? Are you going to lean into John Byrne's run? Like, which run of Fantastic Four? What Fantastic, are we going to see their origin again? Is Silver Surfer and Galactus going to be a part of it? I don't know. But I mean, I really do hope it's great. Now, Loki is next. Now, the reason Loki is next is because it seems to me that all of the shenanigans that have happened with the different universes and the different things, the multiverse, really started when Loki fractured everything.
Right.
And I think the time variance authority, I think whatever they're doing in Loki is going to lead up. It's the germination of where they're going, wherever the new Avengers movie is going to be. And I don't know what that means. I don't know. And seeing the recently released footage, it looks like Loki's in a period time. That spy footage. Is he in the 20s?
Yeah.
Is he in the 30s? Is he? I don't know. Now, I don't know if it's been announced, but I want to put this on my list. Eternals 2. Because they did say Eternals were returning.
Yeah, but there hasn't been. But we don't know if they're going to return as characters in other movies. We don't know. If there's going to be.
So whatever.
So that's why I'm going to disqualify that.
Okay. But I want to know.
Because I think I would have had it on my list as well. But,
Now
but
it hasn't been announced.
One.
So where am I? Now I'm at 4. So I'm at 4. The 4's She-Hulk. Now
I'm glad you got it that high.
4's She-Hulk. I love the She-Hulk comics. I love the meta nature of it. There's things that a friend of mine who actually worked on it a little bit told me a little bit about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think there's going to be a lot of, let's call it, interesting crossovers because she's a lawyer. I think, as we saw from Spider-Man No Way Home, with Matt Murdock visiting the Spider-Man household, the Parker household, that there's going to be a need. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see who comes to her. Like, will Frank Castle come to her? Will the Punisher show up in that show? Now, to follow up that, number 3, and I don't know if this counts. Can I count Daredevil? Because
I guess Kevin Feige has kind of said
they've said they're going to do Daredevil. And
you know what? I should have had that on my list there somewhere as well.
I didn't
even think about it. You're right.
And I've got to say Daredevil because you've had Kingpin in Hawkeye. You've had
a very
Matt Murdock.
horrible Kingpin.
I know,
Hawkeye.
I know. But you've had Kingpin. You've had Matt Murdock in Spider-Man No Way Home. That is not a low-profile movie. That's a huge profile movie. And my number 2 is Guardians of the Galaxy 3, because I love Guardians of the Galaxy. And I put with that, if I can put with it, the holiday special.
Yeah, I left that off. I shouldn't have left it off.
I think they've got to kind of go together. So that's number 2. My number 1 most anticipated Marvel movie, and people are going to think, is Blade. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why it's Blade. Because 1, we have seen Agatha Harkness, and I was struggling with this because Agatha Harkness was at first my number 10. Because she's a sorcerer. We got to see her history. I am really interested. How is the Marvel Cinematic Universe going to deal with the supernatural on a large scale? Moon Knight was introduced in Werewolf by Night. There's a werewolf. We know that there's werewolves. Blade means that there's an entire... Blade's not... He's not even a vampire. He's a daywalker. So where are the vampires? Where have they been? And how does that tie into Dane and the cursed blade? And is the necroscope going to come into all of that? How is all there? And the Black Knight, there is a huge area. The whole Midnight Suns. Is Ghost Rider going to show up? So to me, because I'm a huge horror fan, how is Blade going to incorporate itself into the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And how are they going to retcon the fact that these people have been here for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years? And so this is a huge deal to me. I want horror in the Marvel Cinematic Universe because it ties into Moon Knight. They haven't announced a second season of Moon Knight yet, but it all is part of the same thing. And that's the thing I'm most anticipating about the MCU is the supernatural.
All right.
Horror.
Well said. All right. Let's go over to... Okay. What's that, Ray? What are you going to say?
No, go ahead.
All right. So, Amy, let's go over to you here. You heard us rambling on about this. Mm-hmm. How would you rank... What would you have on your top 10 most anticipated coming from Marvel?
Well, first, I feel like we got to just give Ray 5 minutes to kick my ass because Blade did not make my list.
Uh-oh.
It's not that I'm not.
Ray is so disappointed.
I can understand
There's
that.
just other stuff I'm more excited about. I'm not saying
Ray
I won't.
turned his back.
That's fair.
You've been discommendated, as the Klingon Empire would say.
I will accept discommendation. That's what he just did.
Honestly, I looked at the list and I was like, can I just put Guardians 3 10 times and then like an 11th spot for the holidays? But I love that franchise so much. But that said, I went in, I still remember some friends were like, we're going to go see
So I'm
this
assuming
movie.
you're starting at number 1.
I can start at 10, but my number 1 will not be a surprise now, I guess. But no, but that said, I want to give like the other stuff a fair shot because I remember going to see Guardians. Some friends were like, we're going to go see this at midnight. I Googled what it was and I was like, oh shit, I'm going to fall asleep. Like B Team Marvel, are you kidding? And like 5 minutes in, I was like, oh, this is the best goddamn movie I've ever seen. This feels like they made it for me to enjoy. Like so fun. But so I went ahead and I started my list off with Ironheart.
At number 10?
Yeah, at number 10. I don't know much, but honestly, I think Ms. Marvel has me a little bit like, all right, I'm liking bringing in like that teen girl energy. I think brings something kind of fresh we haven't seen before. So I'm excited to see where they go with that one. My number 9 is Loki 2. I want it to be higher. I want to love what they're doing with Loki more. My number 8 is She-Hulk. That one just, looks like it's going to be a ton of fun. My number 7 is Ant-Man and the Wasp. Agreed that, the second one didn't totally land, but Paul Rudd's so winning and like the universe is just...
I think I like that movie more than most people did.
It was a solid,
I loved
it was
Ant-Man and the
fine
Wasp.
for me.
I loved them both, you know?
All right.
Of course, I love Guardians 2 more than people did. Too.
I'll stand by that movie.
Isn't it?
The villain in Guardians 2 is so much better. And that alone to me, I think the jokes aren't quite as sharp, but Kurt Russell's ego is so good and matches that universe so well. And the first one's my favorite movie. And every time I go back and watch it, I'm like, oh, I kind of forgot about this guy.
You know what my big problem with Guardians 2 was? Besides the fact that I just didn't feel like it did anything quite as well as the first one. You have a character called Drax the Destroyer who literally doesn't have a single fight in the movie. And I was like, that really stands out to me.
At the beginning, he does.
Well,
jump
there's the
into
opening credits part where they're doing that. But other than that, he doesn't have any combat in the movie. It was like, that's very disappointing. Anyway,
that's a good point.
No, that's fair.
All right, what's next?
Number 6, Agatha, the House of Harkness. I love Kathryn Hahn in that role.
I love her in general.
Yes. No, and seeing her like get her moments just so satisfying. I feel like a little bit of the end of WandaVision didn't quite like some of the Agatha reveal for me. It was a bit like, what does that mean? So I'm hoping it pulls together some of my issues there. Number 5 is the Marvels. I'm in the same boat. I'm more excited than I thought I would be just because I'm loving the Ms. Marvel stuff so much. Number 4 is Fantastic Four because I love an underdog. I'm ready to see them get their due. Number 3 is Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Obviously, without Black Panther, we'll see. But I liked so much of that movie. As much as he is like the piece holding it together, that world's so good. The supporting cast was so good. So, fingers crossed they pull that off, even with some questionable decisions there. And then number 2 is Deadpool 3 for me. I love those movies. I'm very excited to see where they go with it. And then Guardians and the Christmas special.
All right.
So Ray.
Ray had some.
No,
Are you going to get on me about Blade again?
No. I don't have a top 10 list, but like I've been saying, like with all the superpowers and like beams and stuff like that, the things I look forward to are just like, let's say Shang-Chi 2. Like just for like martial arts, I know it's going to be fantastic.
But again, they haven't announced it, so we can't have that on. We can't have that on our list. Or else it absolutely would have been on mine.
And then Blade, I want to see some cool sword play. Just walking through and just swiping that thing. And the Nova series, hopefully, we're going back to space and staying there with Nova. So that's all I have to add. I don't have a list. Those are just things that I'm looking forward to seeing.
I'm enthusiastic that there's a lot of stuff that I think is going to have a really unique tone. Yeah. Because more and more, I think Marvel's just at its strongest because we've done sort of the big, like all the Avengers stuff, like all that was amazing. But now that people are getting a little burnt out on that, the more it can be like Marvel does a horror movie. Marvel does a screwball comedy. Marvel does this, that, or the other. I think the stronger it is.
I did want to point out that I purposely left Deadpool 3 off my list, even though I love those movies and they're highly anticipated for me. Just because I don't, in terms of the MCU of it all, I don't yet think of Deadpool as being in it.
I get it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about like the overarching storyline of the whole MCU. That's why Blade to me is so important, because how are they going to incorporate this layer that they have yet to incorporate at all, other than what we saw in WandaVision and Sorcery?
Yeah.
So,
All right, guys. We talked about 14 different projects, I think. Question is for you. What to you, out of this huge slew of projects that are official and they're coming, have you the most interested? Do your lists look like mine or Rob's or Amy's, or does your list look completely different? Whatever you guys think about that, jump on down in the comment section below and give us your list there.